I did actually really quickly. I'll just show you the Ukraine thing, then we'll move on from the war thing. Nick, if you could pull it up. So on the left here, you have Ukrainian women who are screenshotted on dating apps when they were able to flee to Stockholm and the United Kingdom and Barcelona and Lisbon. And where's the nice place in Portugal? Is that Lisbon? Is that Portugal or Spain?
Lisbon.
Is that Portugal? Anyways, Ukrainian women were found on Tinder trying to go to the club, trying to, get their hot girl summer on, whatever. That's what you have on the left. Ukrainian women on dating apps and Tinder trying to get dicked down by foreign men. On the right, well, we can't show it, but on the right, you have dead Ukrainian men and soldiers. I'll ask the question one more time. If that picture is a manifestation of not just the Ukrainian conflict, the Ukraine conflict, but all wars throughout history, perhaps excluding the Tinder, do any of you who said both change your mind? Seeing that image.
I mean, how about the women that are like actually suffering, not the women that you just put up on Tinder?
Primary.
So then stop talking about just women who are on Tinder.
You brought up, exactly.
Hello? There are women who are suffering and then there's women who are on Tinder. Like, what?
I think the point is the women are alive and still living their lives.
But not every woman who is alive and dealing with the suffering due to their husband or their father going off.
Here, let me.
And also with the Ukrainian
I'll just
men.
engage with you on this. Okay,
honestly,
I'll just engage with you. Hold on.
Do you think the
I'll just
Ukrainian
engage with
men
you.
are-
I'll engage with you
Okay,
on this.
sure.
Okay, so yes, not every single woman is on Tinder, but if you're a Ukrainian man, there's 0 Ukrainian men that are on Tinder in Stockholm, in
There's none?
Oslo.
You don't think there's any Ukrainian men in Tinder in any of those places? Honestly. And think about the older men too that aren't fighting in the war.
Intentionally? Are you trying to argue that there's just as many men?
Did I say that?
Do you recall when I said no, men could not leave the country?
Not any men.
So it's actually plausible, yes. No, from the age of 18 to 60 or 65, men could legally not leave the country. If you did, you would be imprisoned, you'd be punished. They beat a lot of the men who did try to flee.
Right.
If you see videos of these men trying to cross the border, the Ukrainian military police will apprehend these men and often beat them.
So no, they're not
hold
on
on.
Tinder.
No, but
It
that
actually
Tinder.
would be fair for me to say that there's a good probability, at least, I don't know how things have changed. I still think men can't even leave the country. This is now, we're 2-3 years into this conflict. I think it actually would be fair of me to say that there are no men in Stockholm, no Ukrainian men in Stockholm, just partying it up, swiping on girls,
Well,
fucking hot Swedish chicks.
I mean,
Then
to,
pull up the
hold on.
statistic.
To
The statistic.
Yeah, the statistic.
I don't need a statistic. Hold on.
But
Let me answer
I'm
her
sure
thing.
there was
the statistic
Ukrainian men
is that you can
that weren't in the country when it went to war.
Do you doubt my assertion that men between the ages of 18 to 60 were precluded, were not allowed to leave the country? I could pull up a CNN, I
definitely
could
not
pull up
saying that.
BBC. Tell me the news organization which you respect, and I'll gladly pull it up.
I honestly do not know what this has to do with Tinder. All I'm saying is that I'm sure there's men who are on Tinder in Ukraine.
No.
Listen. I think there's Ukrainian men on Tinder,
Some-
but
you can't
they
just-
probably
you can't
weren't. They
reason with
probably
some
weren't
people.
in the country when the war happened. They probably are maybe half citizens of other countries. Maybe they already fled the country. Maybe they weren't
Okay.
there. So
How
there might
about
be.
here.
But to the statistic that was there, sure they are the primary victims. If that's what you want to hear.
That's not the argument I'm trying to make at all. But
do you think that the Ukrainian men don't feel like their women that are fighting this war in Ukraine? You don't think that they feel like their women, their daughters, and their grandmothers are not suffering? You don't feel like that? They don't feel like that themselves?
Again, that's not the argument I'm making.
Could you tell us the argument you're trying to make?
But
Like,
we're just
just
having
Do
a
you guys
debate.
know the definition of primary?
Yes, they're all suffering. Yes.
Yes.
The daughters are suffering. The
Women,
mothers are
Ukrainian
suffering. The wives
women
are suffering.
are suffering.
Yeah, and I just agreed with you.
what is the argument you were trying to make? Just tell us so we
I've
can.
literally repeated it multiple times.
Please say it again. Yeah, please say it
That
again.
men are the primary victims
Men
of
are
war.
the primary victims of war, and I've provided several examples.
So what does this have to do with
I mean,
these specific men being on Tinder? Like genuinely.
What? It's the women who are
I
on
think she's
Tinder.
just saying-
It's Ukrainian women. It's to illustrate
but
the
they're not
difference.
victims because they're on Tinder.
It's to illustrate the
Even though their
difference.
fathers might have died.
As a
Even though
woman-
they might be on Tinder
They're
and doing
victims,
the crazy
but they're
shit
not
they're
the
doing.
primary victims because they have the privilege to be on Tinder and not in war.
I'm just
All
saying,
right,
why
I'm
did
just
you?
gonna move it on.
No, like genuinely, like why did you
Women
get
are definitely
pictures of like
victims of
random
war.
pictures of girls on Tinder and compare them to dead bodies?
Literally, that
That's-
is
I'm
the
just confused.
That
with
is
the
the
photo.
most ridiculous comparison
How
I've
is
ever
that
heard in my life.
ridiculous?
Because you could use like
How is that?
if they're
It's
leaving
actually
the country,
a
they're not
perfect.
affected.
It's a perfect
Why?
illustration
Well, because
of
they're
the
on Tinder.
difference.
Because they're on
Enlighten us,
Tinder, I guess that
Brian.
means everything's good, right?
That's
Please
not
enlighten
okay.
us.
Can
I mean,
you
it's just,
actually?
like, weird.
Why don't you just steel man my position instead of straw manning my position?
What does that mean?
This is crazy.
Steel man your position?
Well, I'm just saying, like I'm confused by the picture because
Nobody-
it was like not.
Yeah,
I want to say not comparable.
when somebody says that, like a steel man my position, it just means, can you repeat my argument back to me? That way I know you understand it. That's all it means.
Are
Okay.
men the primary
Oh,
victim
yeah.
of war?
Yeah.
Statistically, in this case, yes, it's Ukraine. I mean, men have to be drafted. Statistically, yes. I'm just asking why you are comparing
already agreed with
random
you.
pictures of girls on Tinder to dead bodies.
Okay, are you
Because they-
aware that there's currently a massive military conflict in Ukraine?
I'm aware of that.
Okay. And are you aware that, I've already stated this, men between the ages of 18 to 60 or 65 were barred from
Poor men.
fleeing the country.
Yes.
And a lot of those men were drafted
Yes,
into the
it's
war
fucked up.
and they're dead now. Whereas if a woman was so inclined, she could freely leave, she could cross the border, and then she could end up in Stockholm, Oslo, Lisbon, whatever fucking
But what about
really
the women
nice.
who didn't? Why? Like that's why I'm wondering
my
why you're not comparing them. Like, don't like act like I'm like stupid. Like I'm
So
genuinely
if
curious.
let me ask you a question. If I told you that like 0 men between that age range of 18 to 60 or 65 left the country, and millions of Ukrainian women in that age range left the country, what's your argument to that?
No, I'm just asking about the
What are you
women.
asking?
You keep jumping around my question. I'm asking.
I'm not jumping around your
why,
question. I've
Why?
tried to explain it multiple times, but go ahead.
Why did you put pictures of like girls like in provocative poses next to pictures of dead
It was
bodies?
their Tinder profiles.
Why did you hunt
That's
down
them.
Tinder
Yeah, but
profiles? Like that you can't even
Hold on.
compare
I
that.
didn't. Hold on. Absolutely. You.
I'm just like, why would you like hunt down girls with pictures?
I
like,
didn't.
ugh,
First
like,
off,
what?
somebody sent me that.
That's-
We didn't make the collage.
That's still weird. Like, I
Why
don't,
is it weird?
because you're
if it
comparing
illustrates a point.
men who died in war to pictures of girls grabbing their asses on a Tinder profile.
What's your point?
I'm
It's
just
an
saying,
example
Make an
of freedom.
argument. Make
No,
an
I'm aware of
argument.
that, but not- I'm
You're
not saying
asking
it's
me.
an
You're,
argument.
you're
I think
asking me
it's sad
why I did it. You were asking me why
to
did I
put
do
women
that?
second
Make an
to
actual
men as
argument.
victims of war.
Hold on. Make an argument instead
think
of
that's
why.
sad.
Why would you do that? Just make the argument instead.
I'm just confused on why you're
Why-
attacking me for asking a question.
Huh?
Why are you like getting mad at me asking a question?
Because you're not being like rational. You're not being logical.
either.
No,
Yes,
I'm just saying.
liter-
You could get pictures of like women like in Ukraine. You could literally get them at their house and like you went to like whoever
That's where
found that.
we have access to photos. The reason, to answer
mean,
your
I
question,
feel like
hold on,
for-
I was talking. The reason that he showed that picture is because it
Jump over this table.
illustrates that women have the freedom to be able to be on Tinder. They can't get pictures of them in their houses. That's the pictures that they have access to. But it
Tinder
illustrates
pictures.
that women they have the freedom.
Brian, do you have any numbers on human trafficking and blank? This is not to take away from men suffering, which we do not have accurate numbers. Charlie, I don't have numbers on that. Don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
but no big deal, right? Because what about all the trauma that the men
Man,
who are in their
just-
families
I feel
have
like
to
it's very-
experience by those women being trafficked?
I feel
they're
like it's very
they're
sad.
just as much a primary victim as the women.
I feel like it's clear,
I feel
you
like
guys. I'm so
I feel like
sorry.
it's very sad, especially to Ukrainians at this moment, to compare who's a bigger victim, men or women. And I feel like it's very sad to say women are secondary victims, second victims under men, victims of war in any situation. And I just think that's sad. And that's just me.
I
though.
think-
as
I
a
agree.
woman,
Hold on.
that's how I feel. Now as men, y'all might feel differently, and
And
y'all
I think it's
have been
despicable.
suppressing.
I
all
think it's
types of people all the
absolutely
time.
despicable that
I
you
agree.
guys, here's the epic female empathy that you guys are unable to acknowledge a singular realm in which men suffer more than women. I bet every
What did
single
we
one of
just
hold
say?
on. I bet every single one of you would say that in this specific category,
still a
women
wage
suffer
gap.
more. Let me ask you a
They
question.
don't.
When it comes to SA, who suffers more, men or women?
Statistically, women.
So why is
But men
why
still
can't you?
suffer. I'm not saying men don't suffer,
Okay,
bro.
but the question is more.
But why is it like poor
More.
men?
Yes. Do men
Poor
get
women.
essayed? Do men get essayed?
Okay, more men are
Yes.
in war.
Men
Men still
run the
get more men
world.
are in war. More women get sexually like assaulted.
So who's
Like,
the
it's like
primary victim of SA?
women.
But so why can't you just
Maybe children.
grant
That men are
the
the
most
primary victims of
obvious
Ukrainian
scenario?
war. Yeah. I never said that men weren't
You
all
guys
victims
literally
of
all
Ukrainian
said.
war.
I mean, I did.
You all said both. It's
Oh, I
both
didn't.
men and women.
It's different kinds of
equal.
trauma.
I think war is
It's
a different
different.
subject
I gotta
than
move it
sexual.
on.
assault,
And everybody's like
but-
making faces and stuff, but I'm just
But
saying there's like different types
does
of
that
trauma.
mean-
Like
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, I can't reason with it. Brian, men from Ukraine have fled and are partying. You are wrong, thinking all stayed, and that Ukraine men aren't partying or on Tinder. All the oligarch kids fled. Everyone loses in war. Well, okay, if I can grant you that yes, some men were probably able to cross the border, some men were able to get out. That doesn't change the fact that all men were barred legally from, like, for example, I think my understanding of United States law when it comes to the border, it's technically illegal to cross into the United States. Does that mean it doesn't happen? For example, being in possession of certain drugs is a crime. Do people still do it? Yes. So the reality is, while some men were able to escape, the vast majority haven't. And if they did escape, they had to go through much more extreme means of attempting to escape as compared to women who could literally cross the border without any harassment or any sort of potential reprisals. They're free to leave. Whereas a guy, if you get caught trying to leave, you're fucked. Major fucked. So yes, some men were able to flee, of course. Most weren't though. And then AB Check, thank you for the gifted 50 memberships.